Hello and welcome. This is Betty with Betty Franks Art. I am so happy that you are joining me here today. This You're coming in where I'm working on two pieces that I've already put a few layers down, and I started these two on a previous video, and I'm going to put a link to it right here. And the name of that one was oh, I'm not sure what it was called, but the painting itself was called Summer Garden. But the link is here, so check that out, and you'll see me create it from start to this point. And now I'm just taking one of them, the one that was up on the wall, and I'm going to continue this piece. That bottom one that you see there, you can just kind of see the edge of it. That one I also worked on, and I did that separately from this one. So I got both of them up to this point, and then I took them kind of on their own journey. I like to come in with some mark making after my first couple of layers, and once they're completely dry, I like to come in there and do some mark making. I'm getting my paints ready, and looks like I'm going to start off with some cool colors. I can see those blue over there, and I'm not sure what else from this distance, but it looks like I'm going to get started with some cool colors and put down some white. And I think that white, the nozzle got stuck because I never close it, so I ended up using up the rest of that paint and didn't go back to using that container. Put some hand lotion on. Just any hand lotion works. That one's like from the dollar store. It just helps create a little bit of a barrier so that when you go to wash your hands, it comes off a lot easier. Meaning the paint on your hands comes off a lot easier. I'm coming in here with some yellows right away. I already have quite a bit of yellow on that piece, but coming in with some more. It looks like I'm making a green here. Oh, nope, lighter than a green, very light green. And that was a color shaper that I was using. It's like a scraper, a great tool to add paint and kind of move it around very quickly and easily. This one ends up being mostly cool colors at the very end, and a little bit different than some of my others in the sense that for me, I think it looks more like a landscape painting as opposed to my love for, or the way I like to often create a lot of my paintings, which is my love for fields of flowers and having more of the flowers in it. But this one ended up being more of a landscape feel to it. And probably because the top areas I really covered up quite a bit in blue colors and didn't have a whole lot of mark making up in that area, which gave it a more of a feeling like the sky. Still ends up being very abstract in the end. I'm just making some drips there. That's water in my water bottle. I love drips. I love having some marks on there that I don't have complete control over. Coming in with kind of a tealish color with some green in it. I guess it's more greenish than teal. And I like flipping my brush over so that I can scratch into that wet paint with the handle. I like coming into paintings like this where I've already put down a couple of layers on them, and I feel like I can just move through them a lot faster when I've already done those first couple of layers. I don't do that all the time. Oftentimes I just start with, I do a painting from beginning to end. But I do like it when I end up doing a couple of them at the same time, like I did here. So coming in with some lighter values, and this is the part where the upper area starts to feel more like a sky because of the color and because there is just not a lot of stuff going on. It's a very, what I consider a quiet area. I think in the end, this whole painting's got a whole lot of quiet areas compared to some of my other paintings. I'm using Nova Color paints. I'm going to have a link down below for you, and you can check that out. It's got a link to Betty's bundle. So I've partnered up with Nova and created a bundle of 15 paints that are my go-to paints, the ones that I use most often. I certainly have a lot more than those 15, but those are the ones that I tend to go back to repeatedly. So check that out. And they come in the 4-ounce jars, which are a great size. They're small. They're great travel size too. And they come in with, the bundle comes in the pint as well. There, I like to just offload my paintbrush a bit and just leave bits and pieces of paint all over the place. Another one of those where I don't have a whole lot of control over where that paint lands. I don't have a whole lot of mark making going on here, and that's part of the reason why it comes out to be a much more quieter type of painting. But still lots of layers. I did speed up this video just so we can move through it quickly. Now, if you'd like to slow it down, you do have that option since you're watching it on YouTube. There's a round circle underneath the video, what they call their gear icon. And if you click on that, you'll see some options to slow it down. You can also change it to a different language. And if you slow it down, I would recommend that you turn on captions. Otherwise, my voice will start slurring and you're going to think that I had been drinking while doing the voiceover for this video. This early in this process, you know, this whole piece is, I struggled a bit with it because I know what I did wrong. I didn't have different sized shapes within my painting. They're all very similar, and there's a lot of filling in more so than actually adding different marks. And it really kind of made me struggle with it and trying to figure out what to do with this painting. In the end, I absolutely love the way it turned out, but the process was a bit more difficult than some of my other paintings. And I know why. It's because I didn't come in with some clear mark making early on so that I have more stuff to work with at this stage. So I guess this is a good example of when I talk about, you know, putting down lots of marks in the early stages of different sizes and shapes and why it's so important. This is why it's important because I came in here and I was like, I don't have a whole lot of those marks to work with. You know, do I bring them back in or do I just work with it the way it is? I ended up coming back in and adding some more marks to it, but not as many as I normally do. I do like that upper area. I love that color of blue, very soft and gentle. Trying to add some marks in here, making sure my edges are getting done. I don't like it when I miss the edges and then I've got to, you know, try to come up with a color very similar to what I was using. Just takes longer finish the painting when that happens. I've learned over the years to pay attention to my edges. I would say early on, I didn't pay as much attention, and so I would spend, you know, necessary time to clean them all up and get some paint on them. Okay, coming back in with some larger marks here. So I made those smaller ones and that wasn't working. I needed something a bit more substantial in that area. And that's why I came in with some larger marks. I think I add yellow to just about every painting I do. I love using yellow. And here, I like mixing the Indian yellow with the cadmium yellow. And I think I've got one other yellow on my table there. I'm not sure which one that is. Golden yellows. I love golden yellows. Lots of thinking. I shouldn't be doing so much thinking at this stage of the process, but I am. And that's what I mean by really struggling with this one is when I stop and do a lot of thinking, trying to figure out which direction I need to go. This particular painting ended up going to one of the galleries that represents me in Morgan Hill, California, which is just the next town down from San Jose, close enough for me to easily get there. All right, so I'm switching it out and looking at the two of them to figure out what it is that I need to do. All right, so back again. And I think I had some thoughts about which direction I wanted to go with it. I don't often sit and think about paintings, but this one, like I said, was giving me a hard time. So the gallery in Morgan Hill is Colibri Gallery, and I just signed on with them just a few months ago. So I delivered 4 pieces of art, this one and another 36 by 36 and a couple of smaller ones, I think 20 by 20 or 24 by 24, something like that. Okay, I'm on a mission here. I'm coming back in with black because I ended up, excuse me, I ended up losing a lot of that black because I just covered everything up too much. So bringing that back in, and I can tell by the way I'm painting, I know which way I need to go now, or I have a sense of which way I need to go. Coming in with some larger marks. There's some circles. So these were the things that were missing in that earlier layer for me, is coming in with, making these larger marks. There's my love for stepping stones represented with those blue marks. And some of these marks really are not super bold and they're not, in your face. I'm kind of keeping with this color palette that I already have going on. And what I mean by that is I didn't come in with warm colors and really, make it bold again. Here I'm using a rigger. I love my rigger. Makes really great lines, thin lines. I can make thin circles with it. And I'm trying to remember, I keep looking at something over there. I think, oh, I remember now. I have like a small 10 by 10 on paper that I taped up on the wall. I think I'm looking at it just for the elements within it because the one on the wall has a lot of reds and oranges in it. And I'm just referencing it in terms of what are some marks that I can be using in this piece that I'm working on that is also in that smaller one. And I have a tendency to do this. I will take a piece that I've done before, or I also have an art book that sometimes I flip through of my artwork from, let's see, I think it's from like 2017 to 2020 or 2021. So I love looking at that to see, what is something that I can draw from a previous painting that I can apply to my current one. And if you're interested in my art book, I don't talk about my art book all that much, but if you are interested in it, I'm going to put a link down below, or just leave me a comment if you're interested in getting one, and I'll send you a link for that. I love my art book. I love looking at it because it's got all of my favorite pieces. I certainly couldn't fit everything into it, but many of my favorite pieces are in that art book. Coming in with some more circles there. And my circles, I just simply take my brush, press it down, and turn it. And that's one way to make circles. And that's why I don't have super expensive brushes. I do not treat my brushes with tender, loving care. They are hardworking brushes. Lightening up that corner even more now. Sometimes I like just sticking to a limited color palette, but allowing the warm colors to still come through. So like if I'm working on a cool color palette, allowing some warm colors to pop through a little bit, or if I'm working on a warm color palette as my final, then having some of those cool colors pop through. I love the way that looks. And then there's other paintings where I actually do a combination of the two, and they're both taking up just as much real estate, both warm and cool colors. Lighter value coming in. I'd say that's another thing. When I'm feeling stuck, I will come in with a lighter or a darker value. And because I tend to use a lot of black in my earlier layers, I don't often come back in with a dark value. I usually tend to lean towards bringing in a lighter value. If you're on social media, you can follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm also on Pinterest. And if you're not over there, that's okay. I tend to do a lot of posting here on YouTube as well. There's a tab called Community, and that's where I can post like just a photo or up to 5 photos. So I like doing that as well. But if you are over on those other ones, you can follow me. The challenge lately has been with Instagram, and I'm sure if you're on Instagram, you've been hearing all about the Instagram algorithm and how it's really changed a lot. The number of folks that I can reach has extremely plummeted from, I would say, like a year ago or maybe even 6 months ago, something like that. It's just sometimes it can be very frustrating when there's a time when I used to be able to reach, so many thousands of people, and now just like not even a fourth of them are seeing my posts. They're just not getting served up by Instagram because they've changed their algorithm, and they are very much focused on reels and video. So short videos. And one thing I find so frustrating about those videos, the really short ones, and I'm guilty of participating, and I'm going to be changing that a bit, but some of those reels, the pictures or the videos happen so fast that it's like if I blink, I'm going to miss it. And I get really frustrated with those. And lately, I've just been skipping over them. If somebody does one that fast, you know what? I'm just too old to be able to grasp what I'm seeing or even reading on the screen, that I just skip over them. And so I've decided, just the other day, I decided, okay, going forward, I'm going to slow down my videos, even though, they show a lot more the ones that that happen very fast. For whatever reason, those are more popular, but I'm going to slow mine down. So meaning, just simply meaning, I'm going to be posting videos that are not like, 20 images in 8 seconds. Those really, really, those are too fast. But so that's my, that's kind of my game plan. Here I'm coming back in and bringing back some of those warm colors, but not in the pink, because I didn't think the pink was working with those blues and greens that I had. And so I just switched that over to more of a reddish color. And I like that better. Even orange. Orange would have been better. And maybe I do come back in with some orange. Let me see. I'm pulling up the picture on my phone because sometimes I forget what it looks like at the end. Ah, yes, I do come back in with more of an orange color. I think maybe I just add one more layer to what I've got there. We know that orange works better with blues, right? Okay, so back to Instagram. I plan to continue on there. And even as frustrating as it is that very few people are seeing anything that I post, I still think that here I go. I've lightened up that dark orange and made it a lighter orange. So I've spent a lot of years on Instagram. I've built up a really good following. I know Instagram, I'm familiar with it, even with the algorithm changes, even with them saying, okay, do this or do that. I still feel comfortable over there. I recently signed up with another platform called Vero, Vero, and I posted a few pictures, but honest, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand how you're supposed to post and follow and do all that stuff. Okay, I erased some stuff up there that I didn't like clearly, so coming back into it. So Vero, I guess a lot of people are going over there. I think they're still keeping their Instagram accounts, but they're participating over there. And with Vero, you you are not served up ads, and everyone you follow, you get to see their stuff instead of Instagram telling you who they think you should be seeing. But like I said, it's like learning a new language. It's very frustrating for me. And I got on there and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try. And I tried to look at some stuff and I just couldn't even figure out some basic things like, how do I even respond to somebody who left me a message, or who wants to follow me and I'm supposed to accept it and I didn't. Anyway, it was complicated for me. My tiny brain couldn't handle it. So I'm on there, but I'm truly not on there. And I think I'm actually going to close my account. I'm going to stick with Instagram for now and, do reels and do the videos that they're requesting. Part of me kind of has fun with those. I know I have to make some time to do them, but I'm slowly learning, how to do reels that are going to reach more people. Now, one interesting thing that I learned about reels, because I've been watching YouTube videos on reels and, the experts telling us what to do. So, one thing that really stood out, this one gentleman said that if you want the people who follow you to see your work, then do a regular post. Just post a picture. But if you want to reach more people, then you want to do a reel. You want to do a video because those are going, and Instagram is showing those to more people, but they're only showing your posts to the people who are following you, if that makes sense. So I thought that was really interesting. And so that kind of also just pushed me to again focus on doing some more of the reels. Okay, lightened up that corner up there a bit more. Do you see how this painting now is becoming much more complex and interesting because I brought in larger elements to it and a variety of different shapes and sizes. Whereas before, when I was feeling stuck, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on. I like those longer lines that are in the somewhat upper left-hand side. And I did that with a thinner brush, maybe even with my rigger, I don't recall. Taking out that black that was kind of smack right in the middle up there. So here I'm already kind of cleaning things up and coming close to the end of this painting. Now on this one, if I recall correctly, I don't have my final mark making. There's just a few of these videos where I did final mark making in one session on several of these pieces, and I cannot find the video for those. But I think you've seen me do it on a lot of other pieces. And again, from this distance, you really can't see all of my mark making up close. And again, I did not get a video of, I usually like to do a close-up video. I'm just completely out of sorts since I moved to this new studio. I used to always do a nice close-up video of the piece at the very end and then also show you my studio. And I just I'm not in the habit of doing that for whatever reason in this new space. So I am going to be working on that as I go forward and start creating more of these videos. But if you want to see my studio, I have vlogs. So a video, it's like a blog, but it's a video. So a vlog, and I've got a couple of them and I show you my studio space. So actually I'm going to link one of them here and you can check that out if you haven't seen them already. They're behind the scenes in my studio of things going on. And my second one that I did talks about how to prepare your art for a art showing. So I do the photography and the varnishing and the wiring up of the art that goes to the show. So kind of the other stuff that artists have to do. And in that one, I also show you how I finish a piece with mark making. So actually that would be a good one. Let me link that one here and you'll be able to see me up close doing my final mark making and also my thought process behind it, why, what I'm looking for and how I'm putting those things, how I'm putting those marks down. Cleaning up the bottom there. Oftentimes, because I can't easily see the bottom, I forget about it. I really love this piece. I feel that it's very peaceful. I love the colors. I especially love that upper left-hand corner. That blue color is just so pretty to me. I'm checking the sides to make sure that I got paint all the way around the edges, taking care of the top as well. Okay. So I've come back in because I actually ended up staring at it for a little bit and noticed a few things that I just were bothering me and I just needed to clean them up a bit. And it's not a whole lot, just a little bit here and there. Well, I think it was a little bit more than that. Hold on, we're back. I think I had turned off the video earlier and then I noticed something and I came back in. Okay, I'm pointing to what I want to clean up. Those dark areas, the black, even though it's kind of a complex black, it's not my plain black out of the jar, which is carbon black, but rather a black where I add in blues and greens and sometimes reds to make it a more complex black. Even though I did that, it wasn't working with this piece for me. I felt it was too dark. So I'm coming in, I think this is still too dark. Let's see. I came in with more of a grayish color, and it wasn't quite as of an intense darkness. And I'm wondering if this is the right color or if I come back in one more time. From this distance, it still looks like it's really dark. And it does end up being, dark at the very end. Oops, didn't want that. I needed to take out that circle. It was too much. So it's in person, up close, it's more of a grayish color. I'm mixing more colors here. Adding some white. Cleaning up that area since I had added some black in there. And this is what I do. Okay, well, since I already have some on my brush, where else can I put it? So it just goes to show that a painting is never done, it's abandoned. There was a famous artist that said that. And I want to say it was Vincent van Gogh. I have to go look that up. But otherwise, I could be here constantly, adding a little more, adding a little more, adding a little more. But at some point, you say, I'm happy with it. I love the way it looks. I'm going to call it done. I hate saying at the end that I'm abandoning it because that just feels like it's unfinished. I've abandoned it and it's unfinished, but that's not true at all. But the opposite is true too, where I could just say, I could call it done, but the next day I could come in and say, well, how about if I do a little bit more here, or if I do a little bit more there? Coming in with some smaller mark making in there. And more mark making. Rubbing it out just so it's not too noticeable. All right, I think I'm calling it done. I am, okay. So I did call it done at that point. And like I said, you can check out those links to see the way that I like to finish up mark making at the very end. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell to be notified of future video releases. I always love hearing from you, so let me know in the comments below if you learned anything new, and leave me a comment if you need a link to anything I mentioned in the video. Okay, wishing you a wonderfully creative day. Take care.